I have interacted with a lot of intellectuals, but this is the first time such a group of intellectuals are with we together. So thanks a lot, everybody. Today we are going to, so again, while Amita introduced, I am Rajesh, based out of Mumbai. I worked with L&T all my life, and had the manufacturing energy verticals at L&T group of Larsen and Toubro Infotech, which represents nearly 25% of the organization's revenue. So that's where I'm coming from. And today we are going to talk about customer experience. So customer experience is not new to any of us. We have been living in the world of Amazons and of the world where we have phenomenal customer experience. But as we are coming from a manufacturing background and manufacturing expertise and manufacturing domain, we always thought earlier that customer experience belongs to consumer product company or media entertainment companies or companies who are in the cool business and manufacturing. We are in a brick and mortar type of business. Why do we need customer experience? And things are changing phenomenally, correct? Manufacturing companies are, the buzzword today is direct to consumer, and you can't sell direct to consumer without having experience. Even in a B2B environment, most of our customers are looking for a B2C like experience, correct? And when I was talking to Azil, they want to sell elevators on the internet directly to consumers, correct? So something like an elevator also can be sold directly to consumer. Then others, like we are working with other company called Vitamix, who is a blender manufacturing leader in the US. They their primary customer was Starbucks, but we are working on them. Now they want to sell all their blenders directly to consumers all across the globe. So long story short is, manufacturing and customer experience has arrived, and it is very important for the manufacturing industries to focus on customer experience. And what we are going to discuss today are the various aspects of customer experience with respect to our industry. So the agenda would be, I would like you to go through the introductions. We'll follow the same sequence as we mentioned earlier, starting with Ezil and Seema and Chiranjeev and Anant, and I think Anant is not there, but Sanjay, Dr. Prashant, and Pratik. And what I would like you to do is two, three things, correct? Of course, introduce yourself, your role, your experience, and we would like to have a one-liner stance from you when it comes to customer experience. So my one-liner stand is customers are no more buying product and services; they are buying experiences. So if you can add that as part of your introduction, we will make it as your tagline in our report out as we conclude. So if anybody has any questions, I can take it at this point in time. If not, I will invite any questions, no comments. Okay, great. Great. So I will hand over it to Azil, and before Azil start introduction, I will also request, the good part of virtual conference is a lot of our thoughts can be captured in chat, and that chat will get recorded and we will reuse it. So please make extensive use of chat to project and share your views from your great experience. Azil, over to you.
Thank you, Rajesh. Thank you, NASCOM team members as well. Nice to see you all. This is Ezil Nanjapan, and I am the Chief Technology Officer of Otis. I've been with Otis for a little over 16 years and played a different role, starting with the core infrastructure to business applications, service transformation, digital transformation. And as you know, Otis is an industry leader. It's been in the industry for almost 170 years, close to it. And I get to work with the team of most skilled and most creative people in the world who are willing to transform the elevator industry with the help of digital technologies. And Rajesh made a quote on selling elevators. In fact, it's true. I said to Rajesh, we want to do it. We did it. And actually, we did it in India. India is the first country where we are able to sell elevators online. And more than what we anticipated, we are able to make progress on selling elevators online. So we're going to expand further in Asia Pacific. and then we'll come back to EMEA and North America. From a core responsibility point of view, real quick, as a CTO, I always map Otis with all my work association as well as with inside in our organization as a key KPIs. One, we want to optimize the business processes using technology. And at the same time, we want to transform the business, with a strong team, what we have from a field, from a sales organization, as well as from the business team who presents globally over there. Obviously, we want to innovate, and probably we will discuss more in our subsequent questions, the level of innovation, what we are going to do that. And then the last one is we want to standardize the technology stack in my new role, so that way we can expand, we can grow from a new product and new product development and deployment point of view. The one-liner, we want to be a world-class, customer-centric, service-oriented company. Thank you, Rajesh. Over to you.
Great, great. Seema, you would like to go next?
Sure, Rajesh. And pleasure meeting everybody, albeit virtually. And thanks for having me as part of this forum. So I am part of Microsoft India, and I perform the role of CTO for the Global Partner Solutions team within Microsoft. So as part of my responsibility, I get to actually work with a plethora of technologies across the Microsoft cloud, right from the platform from an Azure infrastructure perspective to pretty much what we call the 6 solution areas, right? Into the analytics, the data, the AI, security, as well as more relevant when you look at it from a manufacturing standpoint in some of the business applications, the SaaS applications, the low code, no code, technologies, and something which we are all now privy to, even with Teams, is the entire hybrid work piece, right? So a very exciting set of technologies. My team and I, we work with our partners. So several of you who are here as well. And it's all about, ensuring our partners have access to the right, platform, the right technologies, are building the right kind of solutions that we take to our customers. And in terms of the topic for the day, right, in terms of customer experience in manufacturing, and Rajesh, you said it well in your opening, right? How do we think of CX in manufacturing? But it is the new normal, right? It is, I would say it is about engaging our customers in new ways. It may be not the traditional way, but you do need to connect with the customer, meet them where they are. So it's all about engaging customers in a totally different approach. And how are we leveraging the available technologies to do that, right, in an impactful manner? So that would be my standpoint, and I'll hand it back to you, Rajesh.
No, phenomenal, Seema. And I think Microsoft has done a lot in terms of creating, ecosystem of technology and tools to facilitate customer experience. So more to come in our detailed discussion. But over to you, Chiranjeev, in terms of your background and experience.
Thank you, Rajesh. Thank you, Seema, Hazel, and everybody. Thank you, NASSCOM, for this opportunity. It's been about 20 years now, and almost most of the times I've spent in consulting. I also was so immersed into manufacturing that I went on to do a PhD in the same. And during this entire period, while working between the people who sit in the plant, right, and to the consumer who is driving the best in class vehicle or getting up and down in a lift, comes the technology organizations. Right, I'm in an analytics organization called Coast 5 Intelligence, where I head the entire manufacturing industry 4.0 and 5.0, right? And our job is to get into the business domain, understand the technology, including Microsoft, of course, and elevate that role to solve the problem for the manufacturing organizations, right? I've been part of Nissan Motors, Mercedes-Benz, from a product perspective in research and development, which is one of the bread and butter, and as well as consumer experience, and as well as having spent time in US with Hewlett Packard and so on and so forth. I'll comment on the very fundamental fact that Rajesh very well pointed out. Consumer buys experience. consumer buys that experience which has got a value in it. The value comes through technologies, data, and models, which are actually enablers. Now, if you have to make enablers for intelligent digitalization, that is where the customer will be highest, either in pay or in value. So the modernization that we are talking about is about the value creation that comes into perspective. The consumer can be inside the company, a factory worker, right? Or it can be a person who is driving the car on the road, or maybe making a lift, right? Or maybe creating a factory. All of the same. Experience has to be throughout, including value. Thank you.
Thanks, Chiranjeev. Over to Anant is not there for some personal emergency. But Sanjay, over to you.
Thank you, Rajesh. Thank you, NASCOM, for this opportunity. And once again, good evening, all of you. I hope I'm loud and clear.
Very good.
This is Sanjay Gutibrekar, and I am with Atos for last 7 years. Currently working in the capacity of Chief Delivery Officer. Total 28 years of professional experience, all along in the field of program management, customer service delivery, project management, transition, transformation, supporting business development, operations, in and around, client interactions, client management, client relationship is always been my key forte or key deliverable, key responsibility, which I have always driven last 28, 29 years. In Atos, I have been handling various roles in last 7 years, right from delivery, transition, and also business development for some time. Very interesting role which I handled last year was to give leadership to the industry verticals for business. And as a part of that, I was handling few industry verticals, and manufacturing was one of the interesting vertical, which was there as part of my portfolio, wherein I got to engaged with many of our clients at the very grassroots level, visited their factories, visited their customer experience centers, and it was really very rich experience, I would say, and very enriching experience to see how these manufacturing industries and clients are looking forward to their end customers and what kind of values they would like to bring in, and the kind of thought process which is getting evolved over a period of time is really amazing. So that's one of the key aspect which actually excited me when I got to know about this particular topic and this particular today's seminar. So looking forward to get insights from all of you and also to share a couple of success stories from my end. So thank you so much once again. For me, for Atos in specific, with respect to client management or service delivery, the mission statement is to build and sustain strong, efficient, effective, customer-centric service delivery processes and organization with end-to-end ownership and governance. I think that's the key which customers are looking at when they outsource their IT services. But I think one liner, if I have to say, one key aspect, if I have to narrate, I think that goes with I think automation. I think automation is the way to go forward, be it manufacturing processes, be it overall client experience improvement, or the way you would like to manage IT services. I think one of the such case study I would definitely narrate when my turn comes, and I would be happy to share that with you all. With that, thank you so much, Rajesh, and over to you back.
Absolutely, Sanjay. Prashant, we'll go with Prashant, followed by Pratik, as far as the introductions are concerned. Prashant, over to you. Prashant, you are on mute.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, thanks a lot, Rajesh, and good evening to every one of you, and good morning. I think so. Yeah. So, and really want to thank NASCOM. So it's great to be here and be here. And personally, I'm very happy to be here because we are doing a lot of research in this particular area, and we need the help of industries to upgrade ourselves. I have more than 25 years of experiences. I'm a British Chevening Scholar, alumnus of London School of Economics and Political Science, plus a Fulbright Scholar, studied at Harvard Business School. So I'm a visiting faculty at Wharton School, University of Pennsylvania, University of Wisconsin, Whitewater, as well as in Texas University, North Texas University, and Texas University at Dallas. So I teach strategy, business model, strategy, agility, and resilience. Other thing I do, and we also do a lot of consulting. So I'm faculty at professor at IIM Indore. IIM Indore is the one of the 6 old IIMs, but also the largest IIM. We have the highest number of programs. When I was chair executive education, we launched 30 online programs. COVID-19 really made us to shift, not shift, I should say, one of the biggest revenue from an executive education coming in the line. Second part here is we are a very innovative IIM because we started the 5 years integrated program. So after class 12th, you can have a 5 years IPM program where you have 3 years and plus 2 years of MBA. And that really has revolutionized the management education in India. Now all IIMs are going to start this year. All top 6 IIMs are going to start the 5-year integrated program, which we have already done for last 7 years. This consumer experience is a very critical part because in MBA, why you learn? Because you want to increase the enterprise value. Enterprise value increases through profitability and profit growth. Both of them are linked to the consumer experiences. And when you look at from and nowadays things are changing called stakeholders value. So naturally you take environment, you take social. So everything links to something called as customer value creation and customer experiences. So we teach these all activities. So once I come, I'm going to share 2 experiences of mine, both with 2 major clients. One is banking and financial services. One is retail thing, how we use technology, because my PhD is in technology management and transfer of technology. So I'm going to share that experience. And second, how in pedagogy tools we have innovated things, because these are very contemporary activity. So it's a real time, like we say, complex capital goods where research and development and production happen simultaneously. Same thing is a customer experiences. Here also how customer is changing. How do you produce services like what Sanjay just mentioned about the end-to-end integration? That's very critical in today's firms. So how does the customer change? How do you upgrade themselves? How do you create and capture value for the customer is the main thing. So for one liner for me, for a consumer experience here is creation and sustaining, creating value and capturing value in real time. That is what we can say can be done in that. Back to you, Rajesh.
Thanks, Prashant. Pratik, over to you.
All right, thanks. Hello, everybody. And yes, I'm very grateful to be here. I wonder if I belong. This is such a fantastic group of people. A little bit about myself is that I've always had this opportunity to get paid to do what I love to do. So I started my career with Hindustan Lever selling coffee and tea brands, and I learned a little bit about sales and marketing, as well as including my management training stint when I sold detergent in Chennai when it was flooded, and things like that, right? And post that, then I worked with Infosys Consulting for around 17 years, 14 of which I spent in the US. And I had this incredible opportunity to work with a lot of leading retailers, as well as CPG companies based out of the US and Europe. And I moved back to India, learned design thinking, and started using that to solve wicked problems, if you will. And then me and several others, we set up a practice at PwC India 5 years back that we call the experience consulting practice. And I would be preaching to the choir here, but yes, I mean, experiences just don't happen. They are created through conscious design. It needs conscious effort to create great experiences. So we help our clients do that. And again, one of those really fortunate people to get paid to do what I do and have an awesome team that supports our journey. My one line, actually, maybe I have 2 words, and a little caveat, they might appear slightly shocking, or maybe not. So the first word I have for this topic is KISS. It's the simple design principle of keep it simple, stupid. Customer experience is not to be overcomplicated. The simpler it is, the better it is. Now, because you've heard of KISS before, I'll give you something that's slightly more provocative, but don't take it the wrong way. That word is me. KISS me is my 2 words for this, because the M is for keep it simple, meaningful, and engaging. If we do that in a consistent manner, the consumer is going to come back to you again and again. You'll get loyalty and advocacy. And I would leave it there for now. Back to you, Rajesh.
Great, phenomenal team here on the call, I would say that this would be my best 1.5 year of CX MBA session I would have in my working life. So, and Pratik, I don't know whether I get paid to do what I like, but definitely this 1.5 hour is well spent. Okay, so let's get into the hardcore topic now, and as we all believe, we are talking about customer experience, and in our whole journey of business, customer comes first. So obviously, Ezil has to go first in terms of what he has and how he has solved, the real issues using customer experience. So Ezil, there are two things I wanted you to cover. First thing is, Otis is a phenomenal brand when it comes to elevators and escalators, and your CEO talks about you are in the mobility business and not in the manufacturing of elevator business. So two things I wanted you to cover. How does Otis perceive a role of CX in the overall business and digital strategy? The second part is, as I know, that you have revolutionized the field service uh, and the other related activities using CX through your various initiatives. So talk something about how have you solved this particular challenges in your business model. So over to you, Ezil.
Thank you, Rajesh. It is not solved. It's a journey. It's still going on. But then I'll give you some few data points, right? We have like close to 2 million elevators or 2.1 million elevators in our portfolio. And then we move almost 2 billion people every day. So almost like we move the entire world population every 3 days. So that's the usage of our products and services, what we have globally. So now if we take how do we manage and maintain? So one, we have our field professionals of close to 40,000 people. They are there globally who interact day in, day out with our customers. Okay. And then if we take, we kind of put our customers into 3 main segments instead of going in details, just to at a high level, if you say it, as Rajesh mentioned about, they look for a great experience because they know elevator product, they know the service coming from the elevator company. Now they want the experience over there. So we have taken into an approach of studying our customers and categorizing it into 3 segments at a high level. One, residential customers, where if you go to an apartment complex or something like that, where tenants live in a building, so they're the kind of customers they look for certain informations. And then 2, the commercial customers, right? If you go to an office building or if you go to any commercial areas, so you see the set of customers, so their expectations are slightly different. Third is the infrastructure segment, which is, you can see the highest building, tallest building in the world. I mean, almost 9 out of 11 tallest building in the world is served by Otis elevators. So their expectations are different. And on top of all these things, the passengers, the riders, those who are inside the elevators, what experience they expect and what they look for, and even it is 30 seconds to a 2 minutes ride, what they expected. So that's how we segment our customers. Then it's very clear, as Rajesh highlighted, they look for experience. So here we conduct various level of customer journey mapping, all these things, and I'm not going to go into the details over there. But the greatest thing, what they look for it is what is in it for them. So if I take passengers or riders, when they ride inside the elevators, what all the information they can get to it. And then if we take high-rise building owners, they look for on time, uptime, performance, quality, and is there a way where I can get that information sitting in my office, what is happening in my 50th elevator in the building, which is like in a campus, which is like a pretty big campus. How do I get all this information? So having all these 3 things in mind, I'll just initiate 2 points. One, we launched a connected elevator product by itself. So you can see it. This one is called Gen 3. Another one is called Gen 360. Some of the products and platforms are supported by the folks, those who are in this call as well. So thank you for all the support provided by all the team members here. So there we want to we have to reimagine what customers and passengers look like then. So 2 points there. From a rider's perspective, we put a screen or a display there which will allow them to see what is happening in the building, what is happening outside the building. And also they can interact with the screen with the voice activation, whatever during the course of the duration of the ride itself, if it's 3 minutes or 2 seconds or 20 seconds to it. So what is in it for us is it brings stickiness to us by having that, the customers or the riders, they express their, the feeling and the thought process, which helps us to retain the customers for a longer period of time from a customer and service contract point of view. And also by having that kind of connected products, we are able to minimize any unplanned service calls, like shutdown of the elevator or stoppage of the elevator or usage of the elevator, because we are able to detect and we are able to proactively share with customers. Look, by the way, in floor number 4, someone opened the door, blocked a piece of furniture. So because of that, the elevator is not moving like that. So we can detect that remotely and provide that kind of information to the building managers as well as to the tenant owners, so they get the visibility to there. Then also the screen that helped us is to publish if there is a schedule or a maintenance call or a visit happens there. So they can see that and what's upcoming it is. By giving the information, it helps them to understand, okay, this is what's going to happen in this area, so they can start rerouting into different locations. So all these things help the riders, also the building owners there. Okay, what in addition it brings it is the improved service response time. So we are able to track what was the response time we have taken in order to achieve whenever there is a request coming from a customer or a building owner during the shutdown of an elevator or an outage of an elevator. We're able to provide that information as well. So the 3 main things my CEO says, and we try to follow, is we want to be transparent to customers, we want to be proactive to our customers, and we want to be predictive to our customers. So these are all powered by the solutions what we put together in the last couple of years in our service transformation journey. Now I'm going to switch a little bit. During COVID, there was a concern for the people, the riders, to touch the button in order to go from a floor A to floor B. So we had an initiative, and I have a patent and IP associated to that. It's right before COVID. I didn't anticipate that. So where we want to introduce a touchless, as an app accessible for an elevator to it. And so we built that application and we had it available. But then when we start seeing this kind of feedback, especially in Asia Pacific, the usage and other things are higher. We launched the app in a pretty quick manner where you can subscribe to the building and then you can call the elevator from your phone. You don't need to touch the button. So the environment and healthy point of view makes a different perspective from a customer's point of view. Yeah, okay, we can do this. I don't feel comfortable to touch the button. Now I can use my phone to move from floor to floor like that. The other area where we focused on is our field force, because our field force it's very important for us to run the organization, and our service business is 60% of our revenue comes from there. So what we did is they're the one interacting a lot with our customers. So we built a series of apps, and all these things are associated to their day-to-day process. And I just want to highlight a couple of things, and that's where the digital experience Rajesh was highlighting there. In order to troubleshoot or in order to go and perform any activity before a couple of years before, they have to go to a job site. So if the elevator is not working, there's no visibility. All we have is the elevator is not working from a customer point of view. So with the connected elevators, we call it as an Otis One IoT, sitting in Microsoft SIMA from a Microsoft side. That's where we are hosting it. And what we have performed is where our technicians can see what is happening in a building, sitting in their office space or sitting from their house, wherever they are. So literally, I can see what is the status of the elevator in Willis Tower in Chicago or in a China Finance Tower, and which landing floor it is there, and who will press the button and where it is heading towards it. So that visibility of this digital transformation explained and exposed our field technicians to understand what is going on in the building. Also, whenever there is an issue, they're well prepared with the products and services, what they need to carry in order to go and address the elevator. So what happened? The duration of the shutdown period or shutdown time has gone down drastically over there. So, okay, what is the customer experience for it? In addition to that, customers were before customer identify there is an issue with the elevator, we are able to proactively identify the issue. We are able to go to the job site. We are able to fix it. And then we're going to inform to the customers at 5 a.m. there was an issue in this elevator in the hospital. And then at 6 o'clock we addressed it, at 5:30 we addressed it. So it's back in service. So that kind of experience makes them not only they just buy product and services, but also that experience enable them to retain for a long period of time in our journey. And as we evolve in this transformation, we learn more from the customers, and then we try to enable and extend digital technologies and solutions, which will, explain further, attract additional customers, and then expand our business as well. So we believe the power of connectivity, connecting with customers, drive results as well as the experience. I'll pause here, Rajesh. I'll move on to you.
No, phenomenal journey, Azil. I have lived this journey along with you, but for some of the others, I'm sure it must be very, very interesting. So few takeaways, Azil, from your story. First of all, you talked about customer experience itself has to be customized, correct? For 3 different type of customers, your strategy to approach the experience was different. Your focus was on being transparent, using customer experience to be more transparent, more proactive, and the outcome is more about longevity, retaining, and delivering more value for the customers. So these are the, I think, key takeaways I took from your story. And you also talked about technology being the foundation of it. So that takes us to the next question, which I wanted to address, Seema. Seema, the technology backbone that is evolving to enable customer experience is phenomenal. Sometimes you guys scare us, the IT services companies, because you are developing so many citizen developers. I don't know what we will do, but that's a different topic. But why don't you throw some light on how the technology is evolving? What is Microsoft doing differently to enable the customer experience across manufacturing or for broader industries? Over to you, Seema.
Yeah, sure, Rajesh. And Azil, that was very interesting, right? You just threw open the various possibilities of what all you can do to innovate within an elevator, right? And I think it's also a space, I mean, personally, if you're held captive inside an elevator for quite some time, you do get a lot of bright ideas, by the way. So it's nice to hear some of those ideas. So to your question, right, Rajesh, if you look back over the last 2 years, the pace of technology enabled transformation, right, or digital transformation across industries has never been so accelerated, right? And one of the industries where it has been most accelerated, and the pandemic sort of just was a catalyst to that, has been the manufacturing industry. I'll just quote a quick example from our own Microsoft's own transformation, right? So Microsoft ourselves we have a significant manufacturing arm as well, in terms of the laptops and the Xboxes and everything else that we manufacture across the globe. And pre-pandemic, we did have physical stores, right? And it was pretty much a very much a high touch kind of a sales experience. And that had to pivot overnight, right? With everybody staying at home, and then we did take a call to go completely digital, right? So one of the disruptions is the digital first selling, and in order to be very good at that, right? How do you connect to your end customers digitally? It is all about having the right tools and the right data. So at the end of the day, the customer data, which is there with you, be it in a CRM system or say coming from other partner channels and so on and so forth, today, in most cases, is fragmented in some shape and form, and you don't necessarily have like a one view, right? A 360-degree view of where your customer is going, what are they looking at, and then how do you do that? So that is something that we have enabled. So if you look at a lot of what Microsoft has done in the business applications set of products, right, be within D365, as you may know it, is about creating that collaborative customer experience workspace, where within your flow of work, right, as a digital seller, you can connect with the customer in the context of what they are looking at, right? So as sellers within Microsoft, we are using it very, very effectively. So today, if I need to go and connect with a customer digitally, right? My CRM system is well connected with the LinkedIn Sales Navigator, right? As well as I have a plugin in Teams, right, where I can, within my hybrid work setup, I can actually see that entire customer record end to end. So the entire customer journey is mapped very digitally for a digital seller per se. So that is one disruption, which is, I think, mainstream for pretty much every industry because everyone does sell in some shape or form. The second space is again in terms of servicing your customer, right? We call it customer experience. At the end of the day, post sales, there is a services and a support kind of an experience. And again, when you look at doing that at scale, right? The leveraging AI at scale, right? We've all been introduced to chatbots for quite some time now, but really creating intelligent virtual agents where you reduce the need for human intervention and completely digitally able to service your customers, meet your customers where they want you to meet them. Right. So AI is another space which has evolved very significantly with, again, very well integrated with the AI builder and everything. Since Rajesh, you spoke about citizen developers, I must say that a new category, right, of applications that we are seeing coming up is what we are calling collaborative apps. Okay, so applications today, they are no more. We are no more into those, long-term application development life cycles, right? And a lot of it is situational. It is meant for maybe a shorter time or a very specific business purpose, and thereby a lot of the low-code, no-code, platforms are gaining a lot of popularity to create those applications, and we are empowering your business users, right? You don't need a professional Java coder or a programmer to do that. Anybody can actually build the application. So what collaborative apps is again, right, in your flow of work. So if your field force is using, say, a Teams front end, right, how can you bring that app into that same experience, right? So that you're not necessarily logging into another system and really, trying to do that is something that we are seeing. And that is going to be very, very relevant wherever you have, again, distributed teams and multidisciplinary teams, right, to really collaborate as you go. And one other thing that is, I know everybody loves to talk about it, but I'll still talk about it, right, is the metaverse that is coming up. And a lot of discussion on how metaverse is going to improve or change customer experience. It is still early days, right? But at the same time, right, it is pretty much set to become pretty much mainstream. Be it in the context of immersive experiences and immersive user interactions, how you really connect with your end consumer without really necessarily being physically in the same store or in the same space. It has huge ramifications. We recently announced some interesting updates to what we are building at the Build conference, really empowering pretty much everybody to build those immersive spaces out there. So those are some, tidbits I would have, but, happy to pick it up from any other space because I could go on and on with all the technology over there. But I'll have you, Rajesh.
No, I think it's phenomenal insights, collaborative experience, servicing AI at scale, collaborative apps. This was a new thing that maybe we'll understand sometime later. And of course, metaverse is everybody wants to talk about it, correct? We are also trying to do some experimentation on how we can use metaverse, and set up our. So we are trying to create our own LTI tour for our customers in metaverse. So everybody's trying to do that. But I think couple of things that you said were very important is right tools and right data. Correct. We can talk about customer 360 degree, but if the customer data is not in a good shape, correct? And our ability to get the right data from the right sources. If we are not able to make that happen, then it's a garbage in, garbage out. You have great analytical tools, phenomenal analytical dashboards, but no insight. So I would like to kind of invite Chiranjeev to talk about role of data, correct? And Chiranjeev, one of the things I would like to focus on is experiences. How are customers really solving this data issue to create a phenomenal customer view or customer 360-degree, or even to do customer experience projects? So over to you, Chiranjeev.
Thank you, Rajesh. I think since I'm sitting between all of you, basically why I say that is because is my job as an analytics consultant or a data scientist to be by breed is to understand what SEMA from Microsoft brings into the table, what is the entire plethora of stuff that's being, including metaverse, right? And Web 3.0 comes into picture, and make it like crystal clear water and go to Azure and tell what should you do in order to do things. Because at the end of the day, there is a lift that needs to be serviced. Whether you wear a HoloLens, whether you get the data from a CRM, right? Or you take an Azure IoT to actually service that genre, right? Because the person who wants to service the lift in 3 seconds, in 3 minutes, and because everybody's stuck in that lift, is not going to understand whether you do it on a metaverse or a Web 3.0. That's where data comes into picture. It's done by fantastic, phenomenal scientists, right? Data scientists, whatever that you want to call it, right? Or business scientists, whoever that you want to call it, who create the design and design to be embedded into the SOP, right? Your structural operating procedure, right? And technology is an enabler to support or enhance that capability or bring it down, right? From the perspective, it should be an enabler, not like a top up, right? From the perspective, it should not make life hell for a service engineer to do things, right? From the perspective, and hence data becomes very important, including the design, as like Pratik said, right? It has to be the case, right? So when you design something, right, that is where data has to be fed into the model, right? Whichever model that you develop, right? At the end of the day, whether you put it on a dashboard or a HoloLens, like a metaverse, it doesn't matter much, right? But what needs to be understood is this constant data needs to be utilized to be sustainable for the model, because the model is not going to sustain. Please understand, the lift which is working in Chicago versus the lift which is in India has got two different ways of working, right? Even though it's gonna go for a fall, right? From the perspective, it's two different people. There are two different people. One might be 27 years of experience. One might be just 7 months of experience working in India. Both have to service the same problem. So the model, which is primarily dependent upon the defect, right, needs to understand and learn different defects all across the world. Then only a machine learning algorithm can work, which requires data. And that will enhance the journey. For example, if I have to solve this problem, then I would constantly utilize the data and create a pipeline of learning, which will go through multiple people like us, like thousands of people through metaverse, engineers to be precise, and rate what needs to be solved for this particular problem. And then it's just a recommendation. For a 7 months old guy who's gonna got a problem, who has never seen it in his life, he's getting help from all across the world. That's data. Please understand, the data does not come in just text and numbers or sensors. It is going to flood, and that's the power, and that's what we are talking about metaverse. So metaverse is gonna exponentially create the ecosystem where people will just be bombarded with multiple data points, right? From the perspective, that's very much important, right? On that perspective, one of the use cases that I developed during my times, as in quite some time years back, is to understand during a quality. So when you paint a car, right, you get multiple defects, right? You wear a HoloLens, you develop a computer vision system, and it can predict whether the painting has been done right or not, right? You don't even have to touch anything, right? From the perspective, right? It can be utilized in multiple ways, right? From the perspective, but the data needs to be continuously enhanced and gone through the human machine interface, because every technology is dependent upon human being. If me, Sanjay, Ezil, Rajesh, Pratik, Seema, Prashant, Amita, anybody does not understand how to use the model, it's going to be very difficult. And that's what you guys said it very correctly, which is my second point. Whatever system that we design with data, right? At the end of the backend is a very heavy data scientist who has developed this. It has to run through an adaptive mechanism, right? Who should be able to run with the person who is going to consume it. It can be a service engineer. So make sure the application that we develop, right? That's what we tell everybody, is that you need to co-create that ecosystem. You cannot be dependent upon a vendor to develop this, basically, right? And here comes Pratik's vision of computer consumer experience. It has to be experience with respect to how the model also needs to be run. It has to tweak itself, right? We are still in that phase where we will be able to see where a machine learning algorithm will be created by a service engineer, not a data scientist, right? That's where the power will come into picture, right? I think I went a bit more futuristic, but everything is dependent upon data, right? From the perspective, whether you buy a pizza on the road or you get a burger or fuel your tank or you're taking most of the time I forget is getting flower for bouquet for at least my wife on my anniversary, right? That should come in into my car before I leave the office or I am on the road to office to my wife, right? On my anniversary, which I always forget. That's the power of data. Thank you.
You know, thanks, Chiranjeev. I'm not, I can't hold, I just got one joke on WhatsApp, on the how right data and how right, algorithms are essential. So the joke says like this, Amazon needs to cool down. I bought ceiling fan and they suggested me rope and a table. Okay, so unless you use the data in the right fashion, you are going to create, a bad customer experience. So jokes apart, but one of the things that you talked about in data is about how the data needs to be used to make it effective. I think that's very important. But your conversation also in on all the conversations so far, correct? See, this customer experience is not just a technology play. Okay, it's not a technology play. So you need, first of all, you need domain experts, you need process experts, you need data scientists, you need people who understand human machine interaction. Okay, you need people who can design an experience. Then you need technical experts. So we need a different type of skill sets and competence. And every time every customer asks us, will you put an A team? We say we will put A plus team, correct? And then then we are going back and figuring out how are we going to build that competency to put an A plus team on every project. So I know what we do, but I would like to invite Sanjay to kind of talk about what are you doing to build the skills and competencies required across so many different aspects to deliver a customer experience project. So Sanjay, it would be great if you can throw some light on competency building across these factors that I spoke about.
Sure. Thanks, Rajesh, for the opportunity, and I really would like to pick up the thread from Chiranjeev. I think it was very critical to know the effect and the effectivity of the data, and I think I would take it as a personalized or customized use of data. But unless the the effect or the outcome of innovation touches the every individual or we as an individual, I think the effectivity is not largely experienced or acknowledged. That is my personal view about it. But yes, as you rightly said, Rajesh and other colleagues here in the on the panel, the manufacturing in specific as an industry, it's very critical. I think the end product what they manufacture going to their end customers, of course, that is one way of looking at it. But manufacturing as a process is extremely important for delivering the end product for their end customers. And that particular process, when you talk about manufacturing of, let's say we serve the largest, one of the largest globally car manufacturer. We support IT services for one of the largest fertilizer manufacturer in India. We support the largest oil manufacturer in India. I think all these manufacturing processes are different. Their technology used in manufacturing are different. It's a different instrumentation which is used at various plants, and machineries are different. But one thing which is common is the process. And this process engineering is extremely important, be it the process of manufacturing. That means the stage starts from the deriving the processes, implementing those processes, controlling those processes, monitoring those processes, and then evolving and correcting and kind of modifying those processes as we need, as it is getting progress to the next stage. In all along this journey, the automation plays a very important role. I know how much you are able to automate and reduce the human dependency, human errors. I think that's how the accuracy and the perfection in the process delivery comes into picture. And that's where Atos has been able to maneuver with their customers, help their customers in their digital transformation, and help them to go to their next level of their expected outcomes or expected manufacturing processes. Of course, we are also helped largely with the hyperscalers, all the hyperscalers when it comes to cloud, technology experts, OEM when it comes to IT, operating systems or softwares. But we ourselves also a software and application manufacturer, and being able to help a lot of our customers. One example I would just give, I think, which will I think reflect about the how effectively a data can be captured, a data can be analyzed, and how that can be used for the benefit of not only the customer whom Atos would serve as a IT service provider, but also their end customers who are the retail and the people of the country. I would say, if I may say so. One of the largest. So normally what happens in IT services, the customers comes with their request for proposal, ask, for a specific scope of work, and they ask you to build your solution, and then you go and present your solution to the clients, and the best solution which they feel they go ahead with them. But here is one example where customer comes with a problem. They comes with a problem and they say, this is my problem. I would like you to come with a solution to tackle this problem. There is no scope of work here. And the problem was one of the largest petroleum manufacturing company, when they manufacture petroleum products, especially the fuels used in automobiles. After the manufacturing of the fuel goes to the fuel stations, fuel outlets, fuel stations where we fill in, right, the petrol, diesel, etc. And when it goes to these fuel stations, which are far, placed and located from the original manufacturing plants of fuel companies, how do they control the quality of the fuel, and how do they able to monitor what is happening at the fuel stations? Because these stations are placed across Pan India. Just to talk about India as a geography, and how do they are able to monitor, control, and also do go to a level of predictive analysis. And that's where the Atos came up with their own IoT based solution, where as many as, I would say, around 25 plus different probes which were connected in the fuel station, fuel dispensing unit, and the filterage, or I would say any kind of impurities, any kind of malfunctioning, any kind of unethical practices which were happening earlier at the fuel stations were needed to be tackled by using technology. And here is one solution wherein the largest fuel manufacturing company in India adopted that solution. Of course, as you said, Rajesh, it needed a lot of understanding with respect to technology. It needed understanding of IoT functionalities. It needed some amount of research. It needed technology experts. It needed some amount of expertise on various platforms. And all that was finally, built in together, and in a very shortest possible time, it was a solution which was delivered. So we always, say proudly that we right now this solution is working at close to about 32,000 more than 32,000 petrol pumps across India, wherein the entire, there are close to about multiple parameters being monitored centrally in a control center, and those right from your quantity and quality of the fuel, and the rate at which the fuel is getting consumed, and various other parameters gets monitored, and accordingly the data which is captured from this fuel station is done, is been analyzed by using some analytic tools, and the data and the conclusions of those analytics has been shared across to the customers for them to take the decisions whether, which fuel station is kind of exhausting, or getting empty faster, the overall transportation in and around that. It's a very complex process, but which was largely supported by this innovative solution. So that's about this, and such solutions are being built upon now. The same IoT-based solutions are excellent for windmills solutions for their customers, because windmills are a large farms. They are installed in a large farm, which is very virtually difficult for individual to go and service those. But with IoT-based solutions, those also been automated and remotely being able to manage. So I think that's all about actually my the single liner which I talked about automation. I think that was the key here. I think as and when, as much as possible, I think that thought process is there. I think we are able to create value to the minds of the customer. That's all, Rajesh. Anything, any
Yeah,
specific questions you have?
thanks, Sanjay. One thing I would just like you to touch upon in couple of minutes, if possible. See, if this is a being a different domain, we have changed our sourcing sources for talent, correct? For example, we have partnered with India Mathematical Institute Chennai for data science, correct? We are going to Human Factor International for a very different type of skills who understands, how a person reacts when something comes on the screen, so on and so forth. So, we are, of course, design experts. We are recruiting from, School of Arts on the design part. So is there anything different that Atos is doing to build these experts for delivering customer experience? Maybe you can cover in a couple of minutes. That will be good, Sanjay.
I think it's a very important point and very key for success of any organization that they build talents. Recruitment of talent is one part, but I think building talents over a period of time is extremely important. Hence, the competency building comes into picture. I think competency building has three avenues, which I will just touch upon, and I think we'll get your answer. One is the understanding of the future technologies, what is going to come 6 months down the line, 1 year down the line, and keep yourself ready for that. That is number one, is the identification of the competency. Number two, the building the competency. The building of competency also talks about the people who are interested to get themselves elevated to those technologies, so getting volunteer nominations for those, and then actually building the competency through various modes such as, computer-based trainings or self-learning or certification. There are various drives which are going on, and then people are being, motivated enough to get in those certifications by various ways and means, which are very obvious. I mean, so these are basically three avenues by which this entire topic is, the life
Okay.
cycle of this competency building is taken care of.
Okay, Sanjay. So thanks. So I would like to invite Dr. Prashant now. So, sir, as I looked at your profiles, I'm overwhelmed with your presence and what all the things you are doing in at Harvard as well as University of Wisconsin and so on and so forth. So appreciate you joining this call. See, one of the things that we always joke about in India, correct? My wife is an engineer and my daughter is studying engineering, and both of them used in the same book, correct, after 30 years, correct. So we always say that the academia is so far behind as compared to what happening in the industry, correct. And I know I am Bangalore or some of the, sorry, I am Indore, and some of the other leading autonomous schools are changing the way, but I would like to really understand, correct, as an IT industry experts, I don't want to train people. I want to get them build on day one. The productive on day one. Build is a very not a good word, but productive at least on day one. And we would like the academia to really partner with us more extensively on over that journey. So I just want to understand, not just in IIM Indore, but broader in the academia discussions and academia circle, what kind of thought process is going in building an industry ready talent? What are we doing? It would be great, sir, if you can share your thoughts and experiences and various insights that you are getting from your circle. Over to you, sir. You are on mute, just to.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Rajesh. Yeah, it's a very important question actually you have asked. Even the Prime Minister in the recent Innovation Council mentioned the same thing, that IIM and IITs need to have a ready person, means he should not go and then train and to a company he should join and train. He should start from the day zero. That's what normally a person need to do. One of the thing we do here is, as we know very well, when we, for example, if we talk about consumer experience in manufacturing, let me take a small example before I deep down into how do we work out to develop a skill set ready person for the industry. When a person need to understand in management, he has to understand the macro picture, he has to understand the functional level and the micro level, in the sense that he should understand how the industry is progressing, what is happening, what functional level strategies he need to do, and the bottom level, he should also know how to implement, even in relationship with the person. We were doing one project with one of the retail giants, a very big apparel retail giant, both production and distribution. And when we look at something, when we started the project in consumer experiences or reinventing the business model for that firm, we should understand that how that particular industry is actually creating and capturing value. So when you look at a retail as apparel retail, especially to be more precise, it appropriates value by operation efficiency, operating effectiveness, and customer lock-in. Versus value creation is through customer efficiency, effectiveness, and customer engagement. And actually, all these six subheads require different strategies to work it out. So you have to really build it up. Like, for example, in operation effectiveness, you need to take about vendor management, inventory management, market research studies. So we have to develop skill sets of a person from a platform of capabilities, from functional level capabilities, capabilities looking at skill set like analytics. Like when I was chairman of my executive education program, executive MBA program, which ranked top 100 in Financial Times, we focused on analytics and things. So it's not about technology alone, as many of you had mentioned recently. It's also about implementation, knowing where the technology need to be used. Like, for example, in retail, the example which I'm giving it to you, here we use Metaverse to the client. And when we implemented Metaverse to the client, we showed there's a value creation of 30%. That 30% cost reduced when you implement Metaverse in the retail sector setup. But that can only be possible, and that can only be realized when the person knows how, in the end, the consumer value creation takes place. What the consumer behavior is, what are the latent need of the customer, correct? How will I build it back? So it starts from the customer experience, like business model. When we say value creation and capture starts from the customer end and then ends to the operation efficiency of a firm. It's a circle which is in real time goes. That's why I said when I started, value creation and capture is in real time. You should, in a real circumstances, understand how things are changing and how things really come out with. Second, like you saw, the Bozo and Co developed B2B elements of value. There are 40 elements of value they have created. Till now, we only work on the table stake. We don't mention about the other four value creation capabilities which are to be taken care of. The second part and the most critical part, if I like to come out here with a person not only knowing about technology, automation, IT and disruptive technology, should also know how to empower employees, personalize service. So many type of activities and perspective need to come into place. So it's not about remembering, like you just mentioned about that two books are together. We work on Bloom's taxonomy, which is a 6-level process. First, a student need to remember. Second, he need to understand. Third, he need to apply. Then he had to analyze, evaluate, and create. Now I'm also chairperson of a center called Industry Interface Office, where we interact with a lot of industries and we give live project to the students. It's not a summer project, but it's a live consulting project which is given to the students when they work. Like we are working with multiple companies, especially with banks, where they are given a specialized how we need to reinvent a business model, where need to use technology and things like that. In remembering, we need your help. To be really frank, why I wanted to be here is, as a chairperson of Industry Interface Office, we know the contemporary technologies, we know how things are changing, but we need your help in creating a material out of it. In the sense, like we want to know that amazing experiences, Sanjay mentioned, amazing experience was mentioned, wherein you were saying how you firm created. So we want to develop case studies. So when you say remembering, copying, defining, finding, location, we want to develop excellent studies where people can link their theory and basic knowledge into application oriented things. So once they do this, then we also have something called as 60-40. 60 is individual evaluation, 40 is the group evaluation, where they do group projects where in secondary data. So they do so that they can understand the implementation of things which is happening, tweeting, annotating, categorizing, paraphrasing. And then we have live project with the industries, like we have for 3 months online and offline. So they are studying it also here, and they are having a live project with the companies. Companies give them the live what they say that these are problem statement which I'm having. Like in Indore, we are one of my EPGP group is really working on the whole system of technology implementation and change management. So when you implement something of technology, you should also understand the change management perspective need to be brought into picture, that the person need to think about cognitively, creatively, think about new ideas, suggestions and issues. So what we are doing. So for Upline, we are ready to have a live project with our PGP, MBA, HR, executive MBA and our normal MBA and ITM students, where we can give them live project. They will work, like for example, one of the FMCG firms gave a very amazing experience to my IPM students, wherein they went to the rural areas, collected the data, came back and showed that how things to be done and develop a product accordingly to that. So applying is another issue coming in the line. One more thing came up here is the Madhya Pradesh government. We do a lot of with policy implementation. Madhya Pradesh government came to us and said that MSMEs, now 27 June is the MSME day, medium, small, micro, small and medium enterprise day. They said, why don't you first understand what MSMEs are facing and what is how some of them could develop resilience versus some of them could not develop resilience. Is the public policy was same for both? Can you please find it out? So we did a primary study there. Then we found out something called as technology. People are scared of technology. They are not applying technology. They don't know how to infer with particular technology. So once we got to know those inputs per se, then we said, okay, best would be is the training to them and developing a platform. So Madhya Pradesh government is now planning to develop a platform wherein it's a cloud platform wherein we have data of all the industries which are in MSME, and in real time we can evaluate each firm looking at the resources, capability and competency and tell them where to invest the resource and capabilities into. So applying is another issue which we can work out. Analyzing, evaluating and creating. So it's about creating a new product, which I just mentioned coming in those activity output. So that's the reason we are saying those 6 levels of Bloom's taxonomy, we need industry help, both in creation of something which we define as intellectual property. Like we have our alliance with Harvard Business School Publishing, we develop a lot of IV case studies. So I'll be happy if Izit can also tell, and Sanjay just mentioned about 2 beautiful examples. These 2 are ready-made cases for IV we can develop. Even Roy mentioned about back to it and combine. We'll be happy to work with a co-authored case study with you, which can be published in Harvard Business School Publishing, which can be used as an input material to my students. Second one, I really want you all to come to, even nowadays, one thing COVID can tell us that online you can have an excellent courses. So we have courses on technology, contemporary issue, business model, agility. You can come and give your own experiences. Like Seema was just mentioning about new technology, collaborative apps. This looks so amazing. Yeah, open innovation, like Rajesh mentioned about open innovation, about collaborating in multiple institutes and coming out with activity. These experiences, if you share, the students really can think into a different metaphor. So it's not only about input material of case studies, it's also Harvard Business Review articles. It's one of the articles we are just finishing with a bank. So there's a central bank who had a loss of 5,000 crores in year 2019 before COVID. And in COVID itself, we made a profit of 1,000 crores. So question here is, what are the 6 step strategies of a bank? A public sector making profit, it's a very big question, correct? And we have an NPA of 14%. So, but still they did it. So that's a very unique HBR article which we're developing. So the unique experience which you have, we faculty, we know theory, we know segmentation, you have amazing experiences. So we can make a student contemporary. One is the input. Second is your own talks, guest talks with our students. The third is co-creating a course. You can come and teach course with us. You have a 10 credits, 15 session course. Please craft a course and come, and then that will be great. And then sure, sir. No, I'm serious. It's an open invitation for you all. And I'll be sending a mail after this. I really want you to come to us. And then the fourth one is live projects. You can give a live problem statement to them. We can have a MOU, confidential MOU with you all, and something called as projects with you. And students learn amazing thing. One of the students did one small project for MSc is about deciding where to locate the factory in Thailand, Vietnam, or in Chennai. and they took over the decision of investing and linking technologies over it. How will you link your the Taiwan factory with Chennai factory and Indore factory together using technology in a simple? So, and how to increase the consumer experience. It was a B2B company selling to automobile company, the steel wires to an automobile company. So these are the few live things we do, and we would expect that and need help. Frankly speaking, we are children, so we can combine together with you all and learn together and go up. So that's a thing to you. Back to you, Rajesh.
No, sir, we are, I would say that as LTI representative, definitely I will participate, but on personal level also, I am more than willing to help in any shape or form. So I will reach out to you separately. I have also designed actually one course. It's called 6x6x6. So 6 topics, 6 weeks. Okay. So there is one more 6, but I will send you that material which I designed. I shared with a couple of students. I'm running those courses with them. Basically, it talks about, two different things. How to create digital transformation uh, uh, using real case studies and real examples. So I will share that with you, and would be very happy to be of any help to you. But thanks a lot, Shanj.
So sorry, Rajesh and Prateek, for hijacking your time, but I'll just take a minute. So I think we were also discussing that what could be the next step of this discussion, right? And that's where I was discussing with Rajesh. Maybe as a next step, we wanted to publish an article which we will post. And Rajesh had volunteered that he will write that article and we'll post it on NASSCOM community. And I'll share the link with all of you. But there was also one more suggestion. Can we publish a point of view or a white paper? And if all of you are aligned, maybe if Dr. Prashant or Rajesh or any of you would like to take the effort, we and all of you are aligned, we can publish a white paper or a point of view from this discussion, and then we can, if needed, we can have more subsequent discussions and then bring more leaders as and when needed to create a white paper or a case study. But I'll leave it to open to all of you to decide and discuss. NASSCOM will be happy to support and bring the leaders, etc., whatever needed.
Amita will take your offer for sure. Correct. Uh, uh, so when I was discussing with Amita about various participants, I was telling all of us are either technology experts or executors. Where are the thought leaders? So she said, don't worry, Pratik is joining us. So Pratik, over to you now. To provide us what the future holds for a customer experience. How things are going to evolve. Will metaverse be real? By when it will become mainstream? Any thoughts on how the future for customer experience looks like? Pratik, over to you for our enlightenment.
Thank you, Rajesh, for setting me up. I think that's the easiest question to answer because no one's seen the future, right? You can say whatever you want, and then who's going to validate it? But jokes apart,
but it's getting recorded, Pratik.
Exactly,
So,
and it'll play out in the metaverse forever. So, thank you for the warning. There is a stat out there by Gartner that says in the next 4 years, each one of us will spend at least 1 hour in the metaverse every day. Now, I don't know if I should rejoice that or not, but I mean, that's one statement that's out there, right? We also know from experience that, and I'm quoting from this, fiction author, William Gibson, who said, the future is already here. It's just not evenly distributed. So the fact is, if you just look around, there's Roblox, there's Sandbox, there is Ralph Lauren selling clothes for your avatars. There's Nike selling shoes for your avatars, right? People are buying it. My kids are playing Roblox and buying those clothes. Actually, I haven't given them permission to buy, but we know the storefront is there. We could skateboard to it and buy something. We know BMW created a digital twin of its plant before actually creating a plant, right? And they walked through it and they came out with, they've created many plants before in their life, but using the metaverse, they could figure out that the ultimate design was 30% different than what went into the digital twin. They could optimize it that much further. It's already happening, right? Closer home in India, Hero has been using virtual reality to train people about bikes and about fixing them. The future is already here. It's just not evenly distributed. It's all happening around us. The question is, it's just not in a pattern that we have been accustomed to seeing. Now, of course, all of that can be exciting, and I can go on with examples around, product or production or performance. And I'm a big fan of digital twins since maybe like 15 years when I heard it for the first time. And in my previous organization, we had created a simulation for deep mining equipment and its breakdown to be predicted and prevented using a digital twin that was created. Now, since those days, we all know that digital twins, if you create for either product, so it could be P&G figuring out the next new way, or whichever CPG company, of cleaning your teeth, of dental hygiene. We could co-create products with consumers. Not could, it's already happening, right? We will just make it much more immersive and way more participative. And we'll be able to take things to the next level. We know Hyundai is thinking about the future of mobility along with us in the metaverse through robots. They are showing how we could use robots for moving from A to B. We can create our next mode of transportation through that medium, and so on and so forth. I guess, for me, those examples are many. And for now, we gravitate towards quote unquote simpler things of what we used to do before. Can I do it better, faster, cheaper through this new technology? Now, that's one way of innovating, right? Doing the same thing, but better. Like, sending out virtual claims, or fixing, doing an operation remotely as a doctor or as a surgeon, and or just creating new products and production and performance of things. So I think manufacturing and metaverse, the question is not if there is an intersection. The question is, how soon can each manufacturer figure out what is it that they can do to either create new things or do the same things that they've done in the past, but better, faster, and cheaper. I wanted to touch upon maybe how can one do that? So in the future, interestingly, at least in my simple brain, I also love this other quote that says, the more things change, the more they remain the same. So, which is kind of back to my keep it simple and meaningful and engaging principle. All of us, at the end of the day, as human beings, we want to connect with other people. We want to be heard. We want to maximize our creativity and what we give to the society. What we are born to do, we are innately driven to share that, right? I think the metaverse will provide us, and all the other new technologies coming together, they can provide us an opportunity to accelerate giving what gift we have and sharing that with others. And we will do that by being able to empathize better with other people. Now, that empathy, I don't know if it's going to happen through the metaverse. Spoiler alert. But I mean, there are certain things that need genuine connection. Being able to figure out what people want requires us to be able to walk in their shoes. Now, maybe that I can do through the metaverse. I could walk in someone else's shoes for some time and live their life for some time. And maybe potentially, if I do that enough and do it genuinely enough, I can figure out what you're thinking and feeling, but not saying. And if I do that, thanks to immersive technologies, I could potentially predict what you would like, what you would not like, what would you drag your feet on to adopt new ways of working, what would you jump into, and so on and so forth, right? So empathy, prototyping. Prototyping is another massive use case for the new technologies, especially the metaverse. We can create so many things virtually at 1/10 the cost of what it does, right? Like large heavy equipment manufacturing companies like, for example, Siemens. They've been creating now for the past maybe like 5-6 years. I may be wrong on the number, but big power plant 3D renders and estimating the cost of projects and so on using these technologies. The technology is already there. It's not just evenly distributed. So, but at the same time, empathy, prototyping, and then being able to drive adoption of new ways of working. Adoption, in my mind, requires us to answer the question of what's in it for me, for the people who we want adopting new things. So if we create, they will come, doesn't happen. We need to figure out what is it that they want, create something, learn from it, create something better, learn from it, and the cycle just goes on and on, right? Like that. That's the life we are in, and we can actually afford to do like that. So my mentor taught me that the model of learning has changed. It's not about learn, do. It's about do, learn, and do it ad nauseum. Like get better at it, teach other people, maybe do, learn, teach, right? That's probably all I had, Rajesh, for now.
Yeah, future is here.
If the future is already here, you're right.
Future is here, technology is here. We just have to use it effectively. So,
We just have to use it
first of all,
effectively.
thanks,
The
Prateek.
human. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say the future is already here. The technology is here. We should not forget the human being. If we forget the humans and our feelings and our ability to connect the dots, then we will lose the game. The game begins and ends with keeping the human at the center and enabling them to maximize their potential.
Very interesting you say that. I just posted one article on LinkedIn called Human Sustainability. Yeah, everything we talked about sustainability of environment, social governance, but what about us? Correct? Will we survive this technology onslaught? But thanks, Pradeep. I think you lived up more than lived up to your brand that Amita created about being a thought leader and future future person. So thanks a lot. So we have 5 minutes left. I would just like anybody, one or two people, to kind of reflect upon very quickly before we hand over it to Amita for conclusion. So anybody, just 1 or 2 minutes conclusion. Yeah, Chiranjeev.
I think as in hearing everybody and speaking myself as well. Digital manufacturing is all in total about three things, which is primarily the erstwhile PPT. It's not the PPT that we do every day, but what I'll be talking about is people, process, and technology. Technology is an enabler. Use it to be utilized for making lives better for people and process. Technology cannot neither change or replace people, because it can only help you doing something which is much more better, from 2.0 to Web 3.0 or to metaverse to AR VR. It's the people who are going to guide, and processes define, especially in manufacturing, right? From the perspective, that's very, very important, because it is utilization of the real human lives which actually matters. So we all should contribute to adopting technology to be used for the people and process, and the success would only be with people and the processes. That's what I would like to end up.
Seema, anything from you?
We are ending in a very, very relevant note, right? So it's all about the maintaining the trust, being ethical, keeping it transparent. Even with the metaverse, we are seeing increasing cases, right, of not the right usage of the technology, and a lot of the principles, the regulations will take time to evolve. But then how do you ensure that the technology is in the right hands and is put to the right use is going to be increasingly important, because the pace of innovation is just going crazy, and it's a very thin line between the right and the wrong.
Thanks, Seema. for all of us, our world starts with the customer and end with customer. So as we started with Ezil, I would like Ezil to kind of say a last, last key takeaways before I hand over it to Amita. So Ezil, anything you want to say?
No, I just wanted to say, I mean, it's all very valuable inputs from all of you. I learned a lot. I wish and I like to continue this kind of discussion so we can share and we can exchange and see how best we can move the world. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Amita, over to you you have 2 minutes. You asked for 2 minutes. I'm giving you back 2 minutes.
Thank you, Rajesh. Thank you for so kind. And thank you for being kind. So thank you everyone for joining us today. It was really insightful discussion and I personally learned a lot. I think all of us utilized our Friday evening in the best possible way. That's what I feel. Thank you for joining us today. Really appreciate that. So what we'll do is I'll share the link of community portal. We'll publish some insights from this discussion and I'll work with Rajesh to see how we can collate our insights and from this discussion. Also, I'll request Rajesh to initiate a discussion if all of you are aligned for a white paper or point of view, etc. If IIML or PwC wants to collaborate there and take up the lead. So we'll initiate that discussion.
Sure.
Sure.
Thank you. Thanks a lot for your time. Really appreciate that. Have a good weekend.
Thank you. Enjoy
Pleasure.
your Friday evening or
Thanks,
Friday
everyone. Have a great weekend.
Thank you. Have a
Thank
good
you.
one.
Bye.
Cheers.
Bye.
You.
Bye.
Cheers.
Bye bye.